International Affair with Boss Lady. This is the Change the Game segment. This is why I started this segment and this show, to highlight talent like the beautiful lady in front of me, Rajé Shwari, who is sonically bridging the gap between the East and the West. And if you haven't heard her name, you've definitely heard her voice, and you're going to be hearing her name much, much more very soon. How are you?
I'm great.
Yeah.
What a great introduction.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You look beautiful.
Thank you.
People can't see you on radio, but when the video drops, they'll be able to see how beautiful you look.
Awesome.
How you feeling? We just did the Source Expo together.
We did. Mm-hmm. That's where we met. I feel like we're old friends,
I
and
know.
we just met a few days ago.
Kindred spirits.
We definitely are.
Yeah.
We definitely are.
You are the queen of Bollyhood.
I am. I'm inviting everybody to my world.
I
It's
love
called
it.
Bollyhood, but I am the queen of it. But,
So talk about what is the Bollyhood movement?
Well, as I'm sure you'll touch on somewhere in our
Mm-hmm.
talk, about 10 years ago, I signed to a little-known producer named Timbaland.
Mm-hmm.
You may have heard of him.
Timbaland. He's had a couple hits here and there.
I think so. So, there was like this ushering in of hip-hop records with Indian flavor.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually started a little bit before me. It was Big Pimpin' and Get Your Freak On, and he was just a producer at the forefront of that.
Yeah.
And here I am in my garage making my little demo and trying to figure out, American born and raised, how am I going to find my way in these music, studios and in these concrete jungles and make my own sort of sound. And I was just mesmerized with his music, and I just thought, oh my God, how am I going to get to him if I can get to him? And, when you want something, the universe conspires to give it to you. So I got this demo together, and I begged everybody in the industry, and somehow it got to him, and he just put me on immediately on these records.
Wow.
And it was just at that time like Indian flavor on hip-hop records, but you want to talk about like an absolute blessing. My first records were with Jay-Z, Blueprint 2,
The Bounce. Love that track.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then I did a record for Charlie's Angels Full Throttle soundtrack with Nas and Pharrell. So I started with hip-hop royalty.
Right. How do you go backwards from that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't even know kind of how it happened. I just stumbled into it. It was lots of, hard work. But so then to answer your original question, I just started floating around in studios, and, I wear my little bindi to identify my culture and all that. And people just started saying, she comes with that Bollyhood. And
you're born and raised just outside of Philadelphia.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep, my whole life.
Yeah.
But very traditional parents, very traditional roots.
I was gonna ask you that. Like, is it a forced thing? Enhancing with the Indian culture, are you forcing it, or are you very connected to the culture?
Well, I got really lucky because you can even hear from my speech, and just I'm American born and raised, public school, grew up on hip hop, grew up on Madonna, Michael, just an American kid.
Yeah.
But my parents are super traditional, but they happen to be musicians. And they kind of like traveled around the country doing Indian music programs. So the deal with me and my dad was if I learned the Indian stuff from him, he would buy me records. I had to do that and get good grades.
Oh, I love that.
And then he would buy me records that I wanted. So the beauty of it was he didn't even know that he was training me for something, which of course now I thank him for every day.
Yeah, absolutely.
But so even though it was really traditional, because the music was the common bond, my parents really supported me.
So what were you learning? Traditional instruments, everything?
A little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Like there's Indian instruments called harmonium,
Okay.
and then some of the drums, tabla, but very little. I'm like jack of all trades, master of none.
Okay.
But my dad is an Indian classically trained singer.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like majored in college and everything. So,
Wow.
and all his brothers, and they all play instruments. So
Oh.
he would just teach me scales and just anything that I would learn. It was very much like, the Selena movie that we've all seen with
course.
J-Lo, and
Yeah.
that scene with her dad where she
Yeah.
doesn't want to learn when she's a little kid.
When she doesn't want to sing in Spanish, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
So my dad, that was the trade-off. He would just have me learning these scales and stuff. And then I ended up using them on tracks with Timbaland. So go figure how that works.
Oh my God.
Right?
Probably because you're the queen of Bollyhood. We come from a very similar background in terms of, I
do.
think, we're hip-hop kids, but we're very proud of our international flavor. And you're bridging those gaps right now. You have an album coming out in about 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, we're trying to push it.
Okay.
Sometimes delays happen, but soon enough, I would hope before the year is out for sure.
And it's called I'm Famous in Bollyhood.
That's right.
How many people are in Bollyhood? What's the population of Bollyhood?
Well, I mean, I take up a lot of space right now, but I'm going to make room for others. But, you know, really, there's like a cult following from all the records that I did with the Indian flavor. So, but, you know, Bollyhood at large, I would say, is at least half the planet's population.
Amen.
You know, it's anybody who has some sort of an ethnic Indian, Turkish, Lebanese, African, and not to mention the whole urban population and really everybody globally. I mean, I think we're kind of all set for it the way that the Latina explosion happened.
Absolutely. So we just played Indian flute, and the flute's actually Colombian, which is what I learned on
How did
YouTube.
you know
Oh,
that?
I've been doing
You're
my
good.
research,
I didn't even know
girl.
that until a couple years after the fact.
Yeah, because exactly like you just said, though, it's not specific to a region anymore. It's a feeling, I think.
Yeah, and it's a flavor. It's a sound. It's also the scales and the intonation.
Yep.
You know, like ethnic cultures tend to use like more like minor and sort of like Arabic sounding scales. It sounds a little sexier and sultrier.
Yeah.
So, but we are very similar that way.
Very, very similar. So, Bollyhood is the movement. Talk about the album. Like, what can we... do you rap also?
No.
No, you don't rap?
I mean, I don't rap, but I definitely do my little flavor, you know, I'm going to call it like talk rapping, but I have my little urban flavor on there, but I definitely wouldn't call myself a rapper.
Right.
The whole album is all urban, hip-hop, pop mixed together with a whole lot of Indian flavor, and every once in a while you'll catch me dropping a very quick verse.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So you are singing in Hindi and in English on the album.
Absolutely. More English for sure.
Yeah.
The Hindi is just flavor. It's almost like the same records I did with the hip-hop gods with Tim and Jay and everybody else, where I was just like this Indian flavor on their record. I'm just the Indian flavor on my own. American, English, urban, mainstream
Now, was that a
records.
journey for you? Obviously, when Timbaland, Nas, Jay-Z, all these big names, they came to you as the go-to Indian girl singer. Did you have a period of time after that where you had to find who you were as an artist and what you felt comfortable presenting yourself as to the world?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, really, that's what my hiatus has been about, because, you know, the stage was set, and Tim and Pharrell were going to produce my album. You can't really ask for a better scenario, and I was going to sign to Def Jam, and it was an amazing scenario, and I have nothing but amazingly positive things to say because I was a sponge, but the big issue for me was the stage wasn't set here yet, and they didn't think that it could get to radio what I was doing, you know, and that Latin music was coming in. It was J-Lo and Enrique and all these people, and I kept saying that, you know, we're a huge population, but we're here.
Right,
we're
I was
coming
going to
next.
say, they didn't think 1 billion people could sustain them.
Right, well, and I was saying stuff like, look at your, you know, corner newsstand, look at your cab, look around you, we're everywhere. Where do you think we are? You know, we're in your doctor's office, like, we're everywhere. So it just took them some time to catch up, but I kind of just walked away from the situation, and I was highly criticized, but I think the gist of it was that I was singing background, you know, for Nelly Furtado and Brandy and other records that Tim was producing, but they felt it best that I stay in my language and just kind of be exotic. And honestly, the person who gave me the best advice ever was Missy Elliott, who I know you love. And she just kind of pulled me to the side. And she might not even remember because it might have just been a side conversation for her, but she's like, you really need to just do you. And I took that to heart. She's like, because, you know, you'll be exotic on 29 records, and then what? And so I kind of, when my contract expired, I walked out and, you know, sat on my couch for a couple years trying to figure out if I made the right decision. But I'm an artist. Got to work. Most people don't know I signed with Tim again. And at that time, it was just the politics of the business. Just, you know, artists get shelved waiting to come out. And
so are you with Timbaland now?
No, I was then.
Okay.
We're cool. We're still in spirit together.
Yeah.
We, you know, we
are
definitely...
Are any of their influences on the album?
Yeah, I have a track from Tim. I have a couple tracks from Tim.
Okay, cool.
So I think one of them's going to be on the album. But, you know, I think, you know, Bollyhood is a sound that was birthed because he ushered it in, and then he handed me the torch. He probably doesn't even know that. He just set it up for me. So I anticipate that we will come back full circle and make records together.
I love it.
Yeah.
So I'm Famous in Bollyhood is the name of the album that's coming up very soon. Where can people stay with you for updates? and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so all of my social media is nice and easy. It's The Real Rajé. So it's TheReal Raje, The Real Rajé on everything. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, you name it. And then the website is just my name.
Okay.
So, which is Rajé Shwari. I won't spell it now. You'll Google it and you'll find me pretty quickly. Google Timbaland and then I show up.
Absolutely.
How's that? How did that happen?
Absolutely. Yeah, I know.
But yeah, right now we're just going to put it out independently. I actually have my own label called Bollyhood Records. So I think we're going to put it out on that. I have distribution, and then we're just going to see what happens. The truth is I've been recording for so long. I have 3 albums ready.
Wow.
So I'm going to just drop one out there and let that audience fall in love again.